Minister, you yourself have acknowledged there's an issue in relation to the affordability of childcare, and you've also acknowledged that you're in the process of reviewing the community childcare scheme along with other schemes administered by your department. Can I ask you this morning, Minister, what specifically do you envisage, what changes specifically do you envisage making to ensure that the community childcare subvention scheme is fit for purpose and will ensure that we support people on low income and people who are unemployed back into the labour market?
Well, let me put the childcare budget in context. Between 2008 and 2011, 384 million, or 60%, was taken from the childcare budget. Between 2011 and 2014, I've increased overall funding to the early years childcare sector by 14 million. So that's the context of the financial challenge as well as the overall economic situation that we face in relation to dealing with this issue of affordable and accessible childcare, which you rightly say is a very key issue. My department administers two targeted childcare schemes which provide subvention for low-income parents to take up childcare places, and they are the Community Childcare Subvention, known as the CCS, and the Childcare Education and Training Programme. Two new elements were introduced in 2013, as you are aware, to support eligible parents taking up employment opportunities to provide childcare for community employment participants. The CCS programme provides funding to community childcare services to enable them to provide quality childcare at reduced rates to low-income working parents. The programme is also accessible to parents who have relatively average incomes on the basis of their entitlement to be holders of a GP card. As well as assisting families with the cost of such childcare, the objective of the programme is to ensure that the funding is focused where the lifetime benefits are highest for the family, and of course we want to provide high quality childcare for children as well. A number of issues have been identified within the schemes, and they include varying rates for subvention, different eligibility, which has led to efficiencies and inefficiencies and some difficulties for those operating the scheme. So I've decided to review those two programmes to consider how best to structure future childcare support to both working families and obviously to incentivise labour market activation. The participation of the wider, I'll just finish the sentence, the participation of the wider childcare sector in the review will be considered as the internal review progresses. Thank you.
I'll come back to the Minister.
All right.
Deputy Troy.
Thank you, Last Concur. I concur with the Minister. High quality childcare is paramount, and that's, I think, we're all at one in that regard. Minister, you've actually said not answered the question that I've asked, because you've given us a history of what has happened heretofore, and we're all aware of that. And the €1,000 per child, the early childcare supplement, that was abolished by the previous government, but it was replaced by the first universal free childcare year in preschool. That was replaced that, and that was a welcome development, I think, which you acknowledge yourself. But specifically, Minister, we've had two reports in recent months. The report commissioned by the Donegal County Childcare Committee, the Indicon report, and an OECD report. Both reports highlighted how the cost of childcare in Ireland is preventing young families going back into the workforce.
Thank you.
And specifically, I'm asking you, in the committee meeting on the 20th of February this year, you confirmed that a review had started in relation to the schemes. What are you going to do in relation to these schemes to support the families that urgently need the support of the state at the moment?
Thank you. Minister.
I think it's important to understand the reasons why childcare in Ireland is the cost that it is. It's because the subvention over the years has not targeted childcare places, and because a couple of £100 million has been removed from the sector. What I am doing is examining the two schemes that we have to see how they can operate more effectively. But what's very clear, even though we are giving support to over 100,000 children, that a review of the schemes will give us more effective targeting. But the review on its own is not going to give increased capacity, and any overall increase in supports is likely to require additional investment. And as I have said, What I have done is maintained the free preschool year, ensure there was an extra $5 million in supports for quality childcare, targeting training and mentoring scheme, which I announced yesterday, continue to fund the preschool year, increase the places for community employment and schemes, and in the community sector.
Thank you, Minister.
Any extra places clearly will require additional investment. But as I say, the review of the schemes should lead to greater targeting in relation to those families who need childcare most.
Thank you. We'll come back to the Minister.
So, Minister, I suppose I'm slightly worried in what you say, because you're just talking about greater efficiencies in relation to the scheme. You don't see major changes in terms of how this government treats childcare. And you talk about targeted direct payments. It was your own government, Minister, that reduced the targeted direct payments to child benefit on 2 occasions since coming to office in relation to child benefit. It was your own government who decided to tax maternity benefit 1 week after you yourself lodged a report recommending that maternity benefit should be paid for 12 months. So what we need to know now, Minister, is what's going to happen into the future in relation to the review of these schemes. When will we know? When will the review be completed? Will there be wider consultation with the sector in relation to the review? Will you examine, for example, a key recommendation of the Indicon report, the Donegal County Childcare Committee, in relation to offering tax relief for parents who are availing of registered quality childcare providers? Because, and I'll finish on this last concurrent, because back in June 2012, when another colleague of mine asked the Minister for Finance in relation to offering tax relief for working families who were availing of childcare, at that time the Minister said it was let me see, he was unable to extrapolate the cost of childcare, but that has been done now. There has been a fully costed report with your department. What consultation has your department had with the other departments, such as social protection and finance, and when will we see the review published?
Well, the idea of the review is obviously to examine the 2 schemes that are available at present, but I've made it quite clear to you that developing more supports for childcare will require additional investment. That's the reality. I'm facing a situation where 60% was taken from the childcare budget, and I'm working to build up that budget again, and that's what I have done. I've particularly focused on training and mentoring and quality supports, because as you know, and we've discussed it here on a number of occasions, the whole question, what parents want, is high quality childcare. It's very important we put that in place and build up the quality that's available in childcare settings. The sector want that, and I want that. There will be consultation on the review. It has just started. It's being scoped out, and I'll give the House further details when I have them as to the progress of that review. It has just started. I think it's important to review the schemes. It's equally important to maintain the free preschool year and build towards a second year. The way to build towards a second year is by ensuring that the quality is there, that the staff are trained, that the legislation which I brought to this House recently ensured there will be higher standards, people will have to do training. The Learner Fund I announced yesterday means that there will be higher levels of training in the sector, subsidised by government. People will not have to pay for their training. And my whole agenda is to have high quality, affordable and accessible childcare, but there is a considerable challenge in this country in arriving at that situation, given the resources that are necessary and given the prior history of direct investment to families, direct payments to families. If you look at the OECD chart, we're very high in terms of direct payments. There's a history of underinvestment, and as I say, a withdrawal of over 300 million from the sector between 2008 and 2011. I intend to rebuild the sector, and that's what I'm doing, and that will result in more affordable and accessible childcare being available to parents who need it.